Hey y'all, I'm Byron.
And I'm Margaret, and we'd like to welcome you back to the Beyond I Do podcast. And today, we have more guests.
Oh yeah.
Who do we have?
On this episode, we have our first couple guests, Paul and Mashanda.
Yay! And Mashanda is our niece.
Yes.
And we accept him. He's okay.
I'm baggage.
But you're okay.
Yeah, you good.
So what we're going to do for our interview of our married guest is kind of like the structure of our first 10 episodes. So each episode there was a focus on how we met, what's going on, parenting and those things. So we're just going to go through and use those topics and then talk about those things and how they apply to y'all.
Okay.
All right. So our first episode was how it started.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about how we met and how this came to be, and we want to know. Hopefully, your proposal was different than mine, but we want to know how y'all met.
Well, at least they
And-
can remember each other, because you ain't even remember when we first met. How about that? Okay, so let's put that into perspective.
Moving on. So, how did y'all meet, and then how long did y'all date before becoming engaged?
Well, we actually met through my grandfather, Sam. He told me that he worked with this guy. He was a nice, wholesome guy, and he would like me to start talking to him on the phone. So he gave me the number. I waited about 2 to 3 weeks, and I said, I'll go ahead and just give him a call, because he just described him to be this nerdy guy. I was like, I don't know about that. I was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and call him up,
So wait. So in the time that Grandpa Sam let her know you need to call him, did you know that he had given your number?
He told me about it. He said she had a boyfriend, but he wasn't no good. And I told Mr. Sam, I said, I don't want to break up no happy home. I don't do that. I was like, so she gets single. I said, I'll be here. Show me a picture of her and everything.
So you wasn't like counting days or nothing?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
You was sitting
Oh, you saw a picture?
Yeah, I saw a picture.
You was counting
so wait a
days.
minute
No,
now.
I don't count days.
So wait a minute now. You was sitting
He
by
was
the phone talking
No.
about like,
He was waiting.
she ain't called me
He
yet.
was.
She ain't called me
7
yet.
whole days.
Anyway, so the first phone call, y'all talk, and then how long after that first phone call before y'all like went out on a date?
It was about 2 to 3 weeks. When I called, I was like, we got good conversation. I was like, something got to be wrong with this girl. I was like, she sounded too good to be true. And I was like, well, we need to meet. So, I called. I was like, let's meet at Target, going on Wheeler Road. And she was
Aww.
like, okay. I built in a little bit. So as always, I should knew right then. The rest of her life.
Oh, she was late.
Yes.
She was late.
Yes. Yes.
That's my baby.
And I waited. She pulled up. I said, oh, she got a car just like me. Had an old Malibu, 2003.
Oh yeah. That's right. She had Mexico.
That mellow.
Man.
She got out. I was like, okay. I was like, look at her. She got a little pretty eyes, red bone. I was like, okay.
With your hazel eyes.
Yeah. She got the car. I had my rooster chest up. She was like, looking at me like, I said, okay. She gave me a little hug. It was on from there.
Oh, so y'all Target. That's so sweet.
Yep.
You knew what you was doing because that's disarming. That's a safe spot, and everybody
She,
loves Target.
I didn't know if I need to take off.
Now,
She was late.
we ain't
Because she
gonna
gonna
say
make
nothing
pictures.
about your current employment.
Yeah, we ain't gonna do
Okay,
that.
cause
Yeah.
You got a disclosure for that.
all right. So y'all met first date. How long before the next date?
It was like we were dating like every other weekend.
Phone in.
Yeah, I think we went to Outback.
Yep, Outback.
Yeah, Outback. She had a little brown dress on. I was like, okay.
Do you remember?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Oh, and so y'all dated for how long?
But we were friends for a whole year before we decided to make it official. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then y'all start dating.
Mhm.
And then how long before
Let me see. Okay, so we met in 2006. We made it official in 2007. He proposed to me in 2009.
Okay.
But in between that,
He proposed.
in between that, you know,
Okay.
I was staying. I had a roommate, and it's kind of crazy how things happen, you know, because that what I felt like would put us on track to be where we're ready today. Because in my mind, I didn't know how long we were gonna date. Because I just had a roommate. You know, she would come over there, you know, spend time and everything. But then, you know, it was a situation where I had to find my own place. You know, then I moved in. You know, then we started having a more deep conversation. You know, I was like, I don't know, you know, this might go somewhere. You know, then we talked about kids and stuff. And I was like, I don't know about no kid. You know, I was like, we might have a dog. You know, so she bought me a dog. You know,
Yeah.
and then when she bought me the dog, that was her way of saying I'm moving in. Because she knows with the job I had, that dog was gonna die if I had to take care of it. You know, so that's all it took. She got the key and the dog in the same day.
So when it was time, when you decided, okay, I'm gonna get a ring, I'm about to make it official. Was it I know you like it's a life change, so of course you were nervous. But was there a certainty there? Did you know this is what needs to happen?
Well, yeah, because I guess the biggest thing was like I never had the influence of somebody telling me, "Oh, you're doing the wrong thing," or you know you don't want to move too quick because I'm my own man. I don't need nobody to tell me when it's time for me to get ready. But you know, I did have some you know, some outside interferences give me a nudge and say, "What you doing, man? What you doing?"
Who was
You know,
that?
I ain't gonna say Byron. But you know, one thing that I loved about me, Michelle and the family was that there's an equal mix of aunties and uncles, but I feel like the uncles are like, they all like your father a little bit. They're very protective of you. You know what I'm saying? They ain't want baby girl to get did wrong or whatever.
That's right.
But and I like
The
that.
funny part about that is you were concerned about uncles. I'm crazy. That's the funny part.
You weren't certified until a couple years later. You know what I'm saying? So, when I met you, you were more studious than,
you should have been worried about auntie. But anywho. Anyway, so was it like a planned out proposal? Or was it just like, roll over and say, we might as well?
Oh, were you there? Oh, well, when I got the ring, I was, I showed her grandfather. I said, look, I think I'm gonna do this. I had already mentioned to my mom, and everything. People, when you taking that step, to be that serious, people look at you like, oh my God, this is really happening. They find what you dating and everything when they really know that you're serious. You got those who are gonna be in your corner, and you got those who are just super surprised. So, I wanted to do something really special. I wanted to take her somewhere. I wanted to do this, but I think the anxiety of just like really wanting to just ask the question, so we were in the bed, she was about to go to sleep. I kept messing with her. I said, look over here. She's like, she turned over and I put the ring in her face.
Oh.
I was like, you're so
that's pretty close to us.
No.
I just said we was in bed though.
Because I had the ring, like, I would say probably almost 6 months. I had the ring for like 6 months. And, I was just waiting for the right day, the right feeling, just to ask. And I was like, what? I ain't got to do all the extra stuff. I said, she's going to say yeah anyway.
Oh, really?
I just knew.
Oh, okay.
But
you said yes, did you?
I did.
Without hesitation. She didn't go to sleep then. She was wide awake.
See, it was a little different in our case, though. But the song "Let's Get Married," and when you really listen to what he's saying, and younger, might as well do it. That was more of what I was. But it's okay. We're still together. It's okay.
I had explained this time and time again.
Yes, okay? I'm sorry.
Now, I had been talking to my coworker, and I said, how do you go about getting married? I didn't know. I asked them what they did. And they said they went to the courthouse in Aiken, and they did this there. I said, okay. So, I had been thinking about it. She didn't know this. I've been thinking about it. She was already pregnant. Tyson's due in no time. like next week. So we were sitting there, and I was like, we had been discussing marriage. We had been discussing it for months. Like, we need to do this, and I'm like, well, I kind of want, the typical man, I want to have stuff together.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And, so when I woke up that morning, it just hit me. It's just like a light bulb.
It's that feeling.
It was that feeling, yeah.
You knew it was time. That's how I felt.
So I looked over at it, and I didn't have no ring or anything. So, having a baby, being friends, we know each other. So we might as well be.
Out loud. You might have been thinking that. What was out loud was, we might as well do it.
It was enough for you to say yeah. It was enough
But
for
you
you to
still
say yeah.
said what?
Anyways, all right. All right, so next topic.
All right. Now, for our next topic of discussion is we're going to ask y'all how it's going. Like, how's the current situation?
How long have y'all been married now?
Married.
Anything that you thought going in.
Yeah.
And as time passed, you realized, and especially since y'all lived together before getting married, like were there differences after? So, current situation, how it's going, how long y'all been married, and any of the thoughts?
Okay, well, we've been married now for 12 years. Been together for 17 years.
17.
Yeah, 17 years, yeah. But so far, everything's going pretty good. With every relationship, you have your ups and downs, but this is my best friend. Like, we rock together.
And so, like, when y'all were living together versus being married, were there anything, like, or did it just, like, one day you had one last name and then the next day it was a different one and y'all just kept rolling?
So, like I said earlier, when we moved in together, it was, she helped me out with raising my doggy, Puppy. But one thing I would say, I know is, a lot of people say, oh, you shouldn't move in with somebody before you get married. I think that everybody should do that.
I do too.
Test the waters.
Because that's a period when you got to think, when you're living in two separate homes, you don't really know how that person lives. Mm-hmm. You know that affection you have for that person.
Yeah.
But once you live with somebody, they can change that affection you have.
That's right.
But I was blessed that Michelle was very clean, very kept.
Oh gosh, yes.
You know what I'm saying? She cooked, all that stuff. So and I know as a single child, like I don't, I'm not a dirty person. Like that tears me up. So that worked out perfect. We lived together for a couple. I would say about a couple of years. Because I was in an apartment, Parker Place, and then it was that conversation we had. I was like, I don't want to take the next step if I'm not financially stable. If I'm trying to get a house and stuff like that. And one day, I went and got pre-approved. She didn't even know it, and I told her, and we, but we found out we looked for a house. I think one weekend we looked at 5-6 houses, which is crazy because most people look way longer than that.
Months,
because we almost felt like we jumped too soon to buy the house. We should have looked at other places, but we got approved 30 days later. We were in the house, and it was just like it worked out perfect.
Happened so fast.
Yeah.
And I got a story about that because periodically, like I said, old boy, he came along like checking him out. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me see what's up with this cat. So, once they got married, occasionally we would have lunch. And I can't remember what we were discussing, but we were just talking. This man talk, hey, and what amazed me, I don't know, you went right down Dang Street. After we got done eating, whatever I said, I don't know if I said something or what. But after we got done eating, I was like, I think I talked to you a few days later. He was like, I went down the street, got food for a loan for a house. I was like, what? And that just made me feel so good because, this is something that, I've always, y'all know, I've always encouraged y'all, probed it, told y'all, told you from day one, hey, when his day called me, man, hey, anything. I know I know my niece.
I was about to say, just to clarify, because you are his niece by blood, and so this y'all have like a big brother, big sister type relationship. So that protectiveness is because this is, that's because of that relationship. And for me, when we got married, you were a teenager, but from day one, you were my baby.
That's right.
So that protectiveness is because y'all had, that's y'all grew up together and whatnot. But I just the idea of being a provider. You hear a lot of men say, I want to, but I want to make sure I can provide and this, that, and the other. And I think that some of that is from, like, society tells you you're supposed to have X, Y, and Z in line.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that, you feel like you're not doing what you're supposed to do
it's
in
doing
that
fail
time.
or whatnot. And we one thing that since we started this podcast, we've always talked about being your own individual and doing things your way, regardless of what, people say or friends or family say, you got to do what works for you, because at the end of the day, mama and daddy can be upset, they can be mad, they can be whatever, but you guys are the ones that are together. So some of them might be like, well, y'all stepped out there too soon about the house. We've heard stuff like that. You sure y'all can handle all that? Like, well, if I'm not, then you ain't gonna be able to help me.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna spend no help with me. So why is you asking
criticism or whatever? So.
And I've heard that where you're doing too much, but the whole thing about it is you raised me to be this way. You raised me to take on more. You raised me to to be somebody that you would want to say that's my son.
Right.
So just understand that moment that what you've helped develop. You should applaud yourself for it. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I know it's that stigma. You're I'm losing my baby and all that kind of stuff. But through the whole term when we got married, like my mom, she gained a daughter. She even told me that. She was like, in the beginning, I was a little, because I felt like I was losing my only child and all that kind of stuff. But she said, I gained a daughter. She said, I love her, Shannon. And it's one of the things that back to what you were saying. I didn't do anything. I think nobody made me do anything. The little conversations or what you gonna do or the little X, Y, and Z. Like nobody made me do anything that I wasn't comfortable on myself.
Right.
And one thing about that, I've always been a person of I listen to advice. And I watch more so than than listen, because people can tell you something, but if they're not practice they preach, don't mean anything. So seeing what you were doing, how you went from just gradually climbing the ladder, I was like, he's standing his circle. You get what I'm saying? His family is what matters. The outside interferences, that sometimes there can be a lot of static noise that doesn't help you at all.
Yeah.
It can be a turn.
Exactly.
And I got family members that, that push me, man, do it. But I also have those people that's like, sure you want to do that? Is that sure the right thing? And failure don't mean anything. You can always come back from failure.
Right.
You never know how far you can go if you try.
That's right.
So that kind of ties into the next topic. So the next topic is relationship goals. Who were those, or did you have couples that you looked up to and thought, when I get married, I want it to be like this? And when we talked about this, so both of us at one point in time, for me, my parents were together from the time I was 6 to 16. And then, of course, his parents were together until his father passed. But it was still a very different relationship and environment. And so my parents provided me an example of what I did not want. So in terms of, real life, I didn't have a whole lot of couples that modeled what it was that I wanted. I had a good example of what not to do. And then I looked at couples on TV and movies and things like that. So were there any influences that y'all had and y'all were like, oh, I want that type of relationship?
The two of you?
The four of us.
Well, what can I say?
You know why? Because one thing that I loved about y'all then, that I love about y'all now, y'all don't let anyone else's, influence or opinions, get between you. It's like it don't matter. That's still my wife, that's still my husband. So I love that because I feel the same way. No one opinion matters.
Right.
Exactly.
And I mean, I guess that's okay. I'll accept that because you were a teenager and we've been there as you grew up and whatnot. Was there anyone or any couples or anything that you looked up to or?
Well, in my family, there's only been two people that I knew to be married. That was my grandparent, and that was my aunt. So like even when I proposed to Michelle, I was like, I wanted it to be a big deal because nobody on my side of the family been married, probably 30 plus years. But I don't really feel there was like, a couple that made me feel that I felt there were goals. I saw how Byron interacted with being married. He still made time for family. His
extended
blood
family.
family. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He still took care of home. Still took in other people to help out, and still worked all the hours you work. And I was like, I know I worked a lot. And there would be some times when we've had this conversation, like I can't let work stop me from doing stuff with you that I love to do. You get what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So I was like, there was plenty of time, well, I'm going to grandma's house, everybody go there, and I wouldn't be the one to show up. And I'd be like, like how hard would it have been for me just to take that few minutes to go over there? And I know this man right here, I've seen him work all day, take 3 hours of sleep, drink that monster, go fix somebody's car, then call
build a
me.
shed.
Hey, nephew, you want to go do lunch? I was like, how do I go to the shooting range? And then I go ask you for lunch late. I was like, and then do it on time. But it makes you realize when you see stuff like that, like you can make time for what you want to make time for.
Right.
Exactly. And he Byron could have never, that little small time, like he could have never said, hey, let's do lunch or let's go to the shooting range or come by the house, I can take care of that for you, or come over here, you can borrow the lawnmower. Like that's all stuff that he didn't have to do.
Right.
You don't have to do that. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you didn't do it because of Michelle. You get what I'm saying? You did because you just, your heart is literally made to go. You get what I'm saying?
Well, I've always looked at it like, I knew what it took to, or at least in my ideal, I knew what I thought it took to be married and to maintain a marriage. So my extension was always, okay, here's a young man. I don't know how you were raised. I don't know how you were brought up. But I know that I have some advice that I could help you get to that step. Because one thing I didn't want a person to see, I don't want to see any couples break up. You know what I'm saying?
Now, do you see what he just did? You just told him how his actions influenced you. And he put it right back on you. Because I've been telling him, like, you're just a good person. And that's so hard to find. And because of the person you are, your influence just comes.
Yeah.
It just like I don't have to tell anybody, but he just come and then you turned it right back around. That's wonderful.
It's funny because I think that filters through the bloodline because Paul tells me all the time. He tells me all the time.
And the stuff that's like so easy for y'all just to be boom, boom, boom. Sometimes I know, and I think we're the same way when it comes to this. Like, I'm just like, whatever. I don't have the time for it,
Right.
But the fact that you make time for that, and on the outside looking in, like I tell Michelle, you need to sit there and you need to rest and all that kind of stuff. But, if she want to keep going, let her keep going. I learned to realize now. I learned to realize that, that's part of what makes her happy, though.
To an extent.
Yeah.
Some of that is an expectation and sometimes an unreal one. And I think that one of the things with us is, like you said, for me, if it's not in my circle, I have to be consciously thinking of it.
Yeah.
So there's balance for us, though.
Yeah,
and so over the years, like I have softened in some areas, and he has, gotten more selective in some areas. Because if he lets that push him to where he's doing for other people, then eventually he is going to come up short for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So learning to prioritize that.
I had to learn to create a balance because I was like, yeah, I want to do that, man, but I ain't spent no time with my wife this weekend. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm glad because she doesn't require a lot. She just wants to be right next to me. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of helped me. As far as like, well, all I got to do is just sit down and watch some TV with her. Why can't I do that? I'll take the time to do that. And then there's a lot of times, just stay. I'll have stuff to do. I'll be like, okay. She'll be like, what time you gonna go out there and work on that car? I'll be like, about 12 o'clock. As you know, at 4 o'clock, we didn't have so much fun.
Yeah.
Just sitting there, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I had to learn to prioritize. I had to learn to make the time, you know what I'm saying? And eventually I started slowing down, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, at the end of the day, it's always going to be something that needs to be done. But, the main focus and the main reason why I'm here is to be here for her.
We probably a couple weeks ago we were talking, and he said from now on, if I'm going to work on somebody's vehicle, they're going to have to bring it to me. He said, I'm not going anymore because I know it's frustrating for him. He has to pack up tools, and if he forgets something, there have been times when he's somewhere working on something and forgot a tool, so he'll go buy another one. And so he said, I'm just not doing that anymore. And I said, that's good. That's balance. In my head, I was thinking, but what if they can't get it to you? And before I even asked, he said, and if they need me to do it, they have to get it to me. I'm not going to be trying to go and get. And I was like, that makes me proud because that's balance. Yeah. I love that he has a heart and he wants to help people, but at the same time, even aside from spending time with me, I want him to take care of himself and not run himself ragged. And I've gotten on to you about that throughout the years. You can't pour into someone what you don't have. And if you don't stop and take the time to take care of you, you're not going to be able to help others. And you also have to realize that a lot of the people that you pour into don't have the same amount to pour into you. Yeah. Exactly. So it's even more important that you take care of yourself because if you get down, you're going to realize there's only a small number of people that will do the same for you.
That's true.
So.
Yep. That's real.
All right. The next segment is about finances, and we want to discuss your careers. You don't have to mention where you work, just kind of like the field or whatever, and also your thoughts about how do you handle your finances, as far as do you go 50-50 or do it's one main person paying all the bills or some of the bills. So how do you guys handle that? Well, first of all, to start with the careers.
Well, I work in the healthcare industry. I've been doing that for 19 years now, and I like it because my job is flexible and it works best for our family right now. As far as me being home more, get Cadence out of school, to cook, to clean, whatever I need to do to take care of home front.
And so you have flexibility? Is it mainly Monday through Friday, daytime?
Okay. Monday through Friday, daytime. No weekends, no holidays.
Okay. And you, sir?
Retail manager. Doing that for I feel like forever. But as far as flexibility, I have more flexibility with my schedule now. But previous to that, no. But I still work most of all holidays. Some weekends. So not much flexibility as she did.
And so the with the work-life balance, have y'all found it easy to maintain that balance? Do you know when he comes home how to adjust based on how he walks in the door, or do you know how to turn it off when you walk in? Like, how's the work-life balance with all of that?
So for me being a store manager, sometimes my job doesn't end right when I get off, because there's stuff that's going to always happen after hours. But I try to minimize that, I try to just, it's a lot of texting going on. I make sure it doesn't affect anything we have going on. So if I know if it's something that's important to her, I'm, you know, this phone is over there or whatever, and they have to respect the fact that I'm just off.
Yes, okay.
That's what happens. That's what happens when you're the man.
Yes.
That's what happens when you're the man.
And then, in terms of finances, how do you all handle finances? Is it shared? Is it split? How do you all balance those things?
So in the beginning, you know, when we first moved to our home, everything was split except for mortgage. I took care of the mortgage. She had her own car note, had my own car note. But we did split all utilities 50-50. But then there was some stuff that happened throughout life, you know, and I was able to, you know, progress in my career, make more money, you know, and I basically told her, you know, I didn't even, you know, it wasn't a discussion where, I'm going to pay all these, you don't have to pay them anymore. I just took it upon myself because there was stuff that she needed to do to help another situation that was basically still affecting us overall financially, you know, but so take it off her plate so that way she wasn't stressed about going to work, working 4 hours a week, and possibly forgetting to do something because she's working 24/7 to try to help split the bills and stuff like that. So I just took it upon myself to, you know, take on that part, which it didn't hurt me because, like I said, I was, you know, had a pretty good increase in pay, you know, and it helped alleviate that stress from her, and so she can take care of what she can take care of.
Right. So for us, finances, that's one of those topics that is uncomfortable, but you know it's necessary.
Yes, yeah.
Are y'all comfortable with talking about and sharing that, or is that still something that's touchy? Or
now I feel like it's an easy conversation to be had, but during the conversation it does create some, you know, little uneasiness if one person or the other person or both aren't financially sound. You know, and we all make mistakes. We all got, you know, we get a little extra. We want to buy this. We want to buy that. We definitely do not argue about overspending because neither one of us overspend. You know, we do gamble a little bit. You know, we have an opportunity for that. But we both enjoy that. So, you know, sometimes we have to, you know, pull each other away a little bit.
Rein each other in. Like, come on.
But we're going to try together. We're going to try together.
That's right. We're going to together.
And that is the important part.
But one thing about that, I feel like, you know, people, I think they overcomplicate when we talk about finances because we have a shared, you know, savings account, you know, but I look at it like this, you know, that's her money, she make it, you know, it's my money also and I make it, but it's not to the sense where I'm like, oh, you know, you spend all your money, so, you know, mine's off limits, you know, but at the same time, though, there is a conversation where, well, why did you know, if there was a conversation like, well, why did you overspend on that? You know, why don't you have any money for that? But we talk about that, you know, the same way with her. She was like, oh, you got a lot of shoes coming through here. You know what I'm saying? You know, or X, Y, Z. Now to realize.
Hey,
it sounds like you know.
Hey, that damn UPS man was showing up. I know I ain't know nothing.
Why I see a bunch of them lottery tickets around the house, I'm like, hey.
I'll tell you what this will kill me. Like, when I work during the weekend or something like that, right? I got work days or something like that. And I come home, I know she's been in the house with them. And it's about 5 boxes sitting on the porch. And I pull up and I'm like, God, no.
Look,
she ain't hit the doorbell ring or nothing.
When we moved where we are now, I think it was the FedEx guy. He was like, I didn't even realize this house was over here until y'all bought it.
Packages, I know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Between eBay and all that.
Know you by first name. Wow.
But you know what? The funny thing that amazed me, and I'm talking to like people that I work with, and Joe was talking about, I had to borrow $20 from my wife. You had to borrow $20 from your wife?
Borrow?
Yeah. How you borrowing from your spouse? Because I always think, like, come on, it's crazy.
And that's the thing with us. And because there were times when I was staying at home, we had to work through those uncomfortable situations because he's bringing home the income. So then the question is, well, how is it yours if you're not contributing? And so that was something, and that was my feelings about it. And learning to open up to him and let him know how I felt, and then listening to him when he's telling me, baby, this is us, this is the both of us, and then learning to believe and trust that so that I can act accordingly. Now, one thing with me, like you said, I'm gonna do me regardless. So when outside people had something to say, we're a united front, and I'm gonna let people know. Don't worry about all that.
Exactly.
That's right.
But behind closed doors with me and him, I'm telling him, but how is it mine if I ain't put nothing in? Or and I'm gonna be honest with you. There were times where he would come home. There's been recent times he comes home from work and cook, and I've been home because I hadn't cooked. Maybe the time got away from me. He'd come home, he'd cook something.
And I like the thing that used to kill me is I would hear people say stuff like, or me make comments. I seen online people like, "Damn, wife been home all day, take care of the kids. She ain't cooked." And I'm like, what the hell is you complaining about?
Exactly.
Or people say, well, I'm the breadwinner. I provide all this. And I'm like, you don't understand what it takes to take care of a household. Like there are phone calls that I don't make because she's at home. I can call her and be like, baby, look up this for me. I can do it, but I know she's my researcher. You know what I'm saying? So even if it comes, like when it comes, if it's something that I'm interested in, like car parts stuff, I can research all day long. But when it comes to like, certain things like,
trips or
stuff like that, I know to pass that to her.
That's right.
She gonna go all through details. So it's like we understand our weaknesses and we understand our strengths, and we know to lean on each other when it comes to those things. So it's like, why would I get mad at her if I've been at work all day and she hadn't cooked me? It's like, well, I mean, hell, you tired.
And
So I mean, hell, let's solve this. We go to Chick-fil-A, we'll go wherever. You know what I'm saying?
But that's the thing, like people are simple. People are really, really simple. You're a simple person. You're a simple person. You're a simple person. All right. 1 + 1 is 2. When you add a square root to it, you start to think like, man, we're making this difficult.
Yeah.
And that square root is other people's opinion.
That's right.
Exactly.
So like, you can't. Just because you have an opinion of something that you don't like, don't mean it's a problem for me.
Right.
If I come home and Michelle ain't cooked and she's been out all day, I'm not gonna be like, damn, what you been doing? You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say that because because I know how it feels to want to be at home all day and just relax.
Right.
I've been that person.
Yes. Now,
I do that now sometimes.
Now, and on the flip side, I will say that there were times when he came home and he expressed to me, baby, I'm tired and I don't feel like doing this. Can you do this? And it's stuff that I could have done all day. So instead of him saying, I've been at work all day and you could have done this, he lets me know in a way that I'm going to receive it that needs to be done, and I don't feel like doing it.
One thing I've learned is sarcasm is not going to get you anywhere, brother.
That's right.
That's not going to get you nowhere. You know what I'm saying?
It'll get you somewhere, but
it'll
not
get
where
you
you
somewhere,
want to go.
but not what you want.
It's not what you want. Not
Exactly.
Everything is about communication. If you know the person you with, like I know when Michelle get ready to wash clothes. Not because they get filled up. I just know when she's gonna wash it. Like she told me, what you told me, you gonna wash clothes the other day because when light bill.
That's right. You got to wash. You
want to go to look and after sex.
They go back when we talk about it. If a person that doesn't like, I pay all the bill. If she didn't care about it, why would she say that? You get what I'm saying? Like there's still a contribution that you can't put a monetary value on.
Right.
Like with my taxes, she take care of my taxes. You get what I'm saying? That's something that if I didn't have, I'd pay somebody to do.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So I think when it boils down, like society, we include too much of the wrong.
That's right.
The wrong aspect.
Yeah, we put values on. They put values on the wrong things and not looking at okay, it's really the small stuff that gets you by on a day-to-day basis, you know.
Yep.
I mean,
That's the stuff that builds into the bigger.
It builds into things.
But not only that, 2 generations ago, the mom stayed at home and raised the kid, washed, cooked, and cleaned. You know, while the man, paid the bills, and nobody contradicted him for paying the bills then if he wanted to pay the bills. Now, women have progressed. There are more stuff that they can do to have their own careers, but it doesn't mean they still can't be, there for the family. Like Michelle has we didn't push for her or help or say get a degree because, I want you to, pay 50-50 with me or pay 100% with me. And because she wanted to do that. She was smart enough to go to college and get a bachelor's and get a master's. That's a compliment for her. For her. You know what I'm saying? That at any given point, she can say, well, you know what? I think I want to be a nurse. Now, 18 months, she could be a nurse if she wanted to. And I could be like, maybe I could sit home a little bit.
And that's
what I'm
saying.
But as a man, I would not want to sit home.
Wait a second. I get what you're saying, but the important part is the first part of what you said. And she would do that for you.
Yeah.
That's the important part because I've told him that. I know as a man, you want to contribute and provide, but knowing that you have someone who will step up is what's important. And that's what, with him, I'm like, you've done it for me repeatedly. I want to be able to offer that to you. So if you want to, if you find something where it's not as taxing, it's not as many hours, which means it's not as much money, that's okay. I got you. We'll work through it. We'll prepare for that and work through it.
Yeah.
As long as he knows that I've got him and I know I got him. I got him and he knows I got him.
So it's reciprocated.
Yeah, exactly. And
so
that's, one of the things that we had dealt with in the beginning was, my kind of idea was like, okay, we're coming to this. I had 1 year of college. So we were talking about moving away initially in the beginning, like, just out of our hometown, not too far. And so I was like, well, if we decide to do that, then somebody needs to have a career. So she only had a few more classes to take, so quite naturally it made sense for her to go to school and finish school. So she enrolled in school. I did the work. We also had a child too. You know what I'm saying? So people were like, well, how you gonna do that? That's a lot of strain and stress on that. It's not stress on you. Take care of my family.
And that's the thing. It's a lot of strain and stress on you. Then why are you worried about it?
Exactly.
Let us work through that.
I ain't asking you for nothing.
There was one comment that was made to me. A woman who said, I didn't have to work. I chose to so that I could buy the things that I wanted. Cool. That's beautiful. What were your kids doing though? What kind of havoc were they wreaking while you were working so that you could buy things that you want? But for me, I feel like it was a dig towards me because I wasn't working at the time. You have to do what works for you.
That's right.
You have to do what works for you.
Also,
what's best for your family.
I heard from another person who's like, I don't care if it takes after you pay all the bills and stuff, y'all got $50 left for. That's $50 extra. And I was like, I'm not sending my wife out there for no $50 extra. What is that? What is that benefit us? Extra $50 for what? That go in the gas tank and that's done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's not
stress
benefit.
and strain for what?
So I mean, it's just learning to do what works for you. That is.
And that's why I think a lot of marriages, like nowadays, are like not successful because people are always worried about how other people feel. It shouldn't matter. If it makes you happy, then roll with it.
Not at all. Exactly.